Breaking news on this Easter Sunday as Odell Beckham Jr. is headed to the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us here on this special edition of the Ravens Rundown, coming at you from my family gathering at my parents' house in Oklahoma, but that doesn't stop the news from breaking and us giving you a video to break down this news of OBJ joining the Baltimore Ravens. At the time of this taping, the news coming out from Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, we don't have contract details just yet, but when we get those, we'll pass those along to you. I'm tweeting out updates on my Twitter feed at Tyler Jones Live as well. But wow, what a move. The Ravens bringing in OBJ. Our long national nightmare is over. OBJ has a home. He's been shopping himself for quite a while. Remember, the last time we saw OBJ play was in the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals, where he tore his ACL. And I've said for a long time that I thought he would be a very good fit for this Baltimore Ravens team. In this past season, there were discussions about him possibly headed to Baltimore for a playoff run, but as the Cowboys and other teams evaluated OBJ, the injury situation was not as good as kind of what OBJ necessarily let on, and he ultimately did not sign on to play anywhere last year. And so now here he is. OBJ should be fully recovered from this injury that he suffered in that Super Bowl, a year off from football, and coming to a Baltimore Ravens team that is desperate at the wide receiver position. You go back to this past year, once Rashad Bateman went down, this team really struggled to have anyone step up in that wide receiver role. And you look at the guys that were there, Demarcus Robinson and others, it never felt complete, right? And so now you bring in OBJ and get Rashad Bateman back healthy as well. All of a sudden you have a true 1 and 2 wide receiver duo, a 1-2 punch here between OBJ and Rashad Bateman here. I like this. This is a big win for the Baltimore Ravens to bring in OBJ. I'm excited about it. I got some numbers we'll get to. Also, what does this mean for Lamar Jackson? I'll get to all of that and more coming up in just a few moments. But first, I want your thoughts. Give me your one-word reaction to OBJ signing with the Baltimore Ravens. Give me one word to describe it all. My one word is wow. Wow, right? What a move by the Ravens to bring in Odell Beckham Jr. That's my one-word reaction. Give me your one-word reaction in the comments section below. Now, I'll say this. As far as this move for the Baltimore Ravens goes, of making OBJ, one of their top targets now, bringing him in, the next question becomes about Lamar Jackson's future. And I would say this, and this is something that I've believed for a long time, and I'll reiterate. I don't think OBJ wants to come to the Baltimore Ravens if Lamar Jackson is not going to be there, okay? At least I don't think that he would want to be a Baltimore Raven unless Lamar's that guy, or at least until they have their quarterback situation figured out one way or the other. Maybe OBJ knows something that we don't. Maybe that's the next thing that is all going to be figured out with this deal taken care of with OBJ is some type of deal for Lamar Jackson. And we've seen the market for Lamar has not been that great when other teams have looked at him. That more than likely, it seems that he would be back with the Baltimore Ravens based on the way things stack up right now. So I think if you're trying to read into this situation, which we all are, let's be honest here, this is a very good sign for the Ravens bringing back Lamar Jackson and getting a deal done, personally. Because what have we talked about with teams that were interested in OBJ and teams that OBJ were interested in? They were contending teams, and they had good quarterback play. The Ravens, I've said all along, this Ravens team isn't very far off from joining that upper tier in the AFC with Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Buffalo. You have Lamar Jackson there. Now you bring in OBJ, and you're looking to take that next step potentially. And I think that's what you have with OBJ, and what you're hoping for is now you take that next step. You're not trying to take a step back. You're not in rebuilding mode. The Ravens are still going all in with this type of move to bring Odell Beckham Jr. Now, tell me this. I want you to grade the signing for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I know that we're still waiting on contract details. Don't get me wrong on that. But what would you grade the signing for Odell Beckham? Grade it for me, A, B, C, D, or F. Just on the surface level. Bringing in a wide receiver. This team has desperately needed help at the wide receiver position. Just at its surface level, this is an A for me. But what say you? Let me know. Maybe you don't like the move. Tell me why you would give this less than an A. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section below. This is why you subscribe, folks, because here it is. It's a holiday. I'm in Oklahoma celebrating Easter with my family. We had a great time at church this morning and everything, but that doesn't stop us from talking about your Baltimore Ravens. So here's what I need you to do if you haven't already. I need you to subscribe to the channel because it doesn't matter what the holiday is or what's going on. We're going to stop whatever we're doing and bring you a video to break down the latest happenings with your Baltimore Ravens. So I don't need any thank yous or anything like that. All I need from you guys is just to subscribe to the channel. That way we can have your Baltimore Ravens covered. When a Lamar deal happens of some sorts, whatever goes down there, you know we're going to cover it too. We're getting you ready for the draft and everything in between. This is the channel for Baltimore Ravens fans. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. When the Ravens make a move like this, we're bringing you a video. So turn on those noties. That way you know right away when we bring you that video with the instant reaction to talking about your Baltimore Ravens. We got you covered. It is Baltimore Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. The numbers on OBJ. Let me bring that up. I told you that I don't think the Rams would have won that Super Bowl without Odell Beckham Jr. in 2021. And these were the statistics of what he put together that season. He had in total 44 catches, 537 yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. And he was that number 2 receiver alongside Cooper Kupp. They were a good 1-2 tandem. Matthew Stafford was very comfortable playing with OBJ. And, 2020 he dealt with some injuries, had about 319 yards. But the last time that we saw OBJ playing at a really high level, you go back to what he did in 2018 and 2019, his final year with the New York Giants, in his first year with the Cleveland Browns. Both those seasons, he had over 1,000 yards receiving. 2018, he had 6 touchdowns. 2019, he had 4 touchdowns. 77 catches in 2018, 74 catches in 2019. OBJ, I'm telling you, OBJ can be that guy. We're not sitting here covering the Baltimore Ravens and expecting them to get the OBJ that we saw 2 or 3 years ago. But if he can play, if he can be the OBJ that we saw the last time that he was on the football field, when he was with the LA Rams, and if he can not be a distraction, if he can be a good teammate and check mark those boxes, sign me up. That makes total sense. Bring a veteran presence to that locker room, a guy that's been a champion. If he's matured and if he can be a leader, if he can be everything that he was in Los Angeles and not what he was in Cleveland or even in his time in New York, if he can just be a model citizen, be a good leader in that locker room, and put up the production that we saw at the Rams, sign me up. Stay healthy, too. That's another thing about this. I like this for the Baltimore Ravens. We'll have more details on this later, but one more final question before we kind of wrap up today. So, you like the move? Let me know. Let me know if you are all in on OBJ. If you're all in on OBJ and this makes you confident about this Ravens team, if you're all in, if this gets your juices flowing, type for one last time, OBJ for yes, no, BJ for no. OBJ for yes, no, BJ for no. Let me know in the comments section if you're all in on OBJ. I love this move. I'm excited for the Baltimore Ravens. Finally, some new life, something positive to talk about. I know, folks, it's been rough the last couple of weeks with these Lamar Jackson rumors and not a whole lot of draft capital, but finally some optimism, something to be excited about with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll have you covered here on the channel. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I got you covered talking about your Baltimore Ravens there, and stay tuned to the channel. We'll have you covered as we talk about this team and break down the latest Baltimore Ravens news and have more on OBJ throughout the coming days. Thanks for joining us here on this special edition of the Ravens Rundown. Have a happy Easter.